Ukraine's military forces managed to target and hit 4 Russian tanks in the Donetsk, Oblast region. Ukraine's forces used Stugna P anti-tank guided missiles in order to successfully obliterate the Russian armored vehicles. Ukrainian troops have been gifted top-of-the-range missiles in order to push back on the Russian onslaught on their land. And the British government has agreed to replenish NLAW stocks in weeks. Footage released on social media showed a Russian BMP being blown up as a result of artillery strikes by the Ukrainian 28th Mechanized Brigade in Kherson Oblast. The Ukrainian brigade can be seen aiming at the tank, locking onto their target, before a more distant view shows the tank up in flames. It follows a renewed Ukrainian offensive against Russia using U.S.-supplied long-range rocket launchers. The British government has vowed to keep sending Ukraine weapons since the beginning of the invasion. The British government are planning to send more top-of-the-range weapons to military forces in Ukraine in the next few weeks. The former Defense Procurement Minister Alex Shelbrook said, "We continue to equip Ukraine with vital supplies, such as NLAWs. We are replacing equipment and munitions from UK stocks and are on schedule to place contracts to replenish NLAW stocks." Ukrainian tanks commonly use special software for indirect fire, the kind that was used to destroy the Russian vehicle from long range. The method calculates the angle and azimuth, and the missile is then corrected by a drone nearer the target. Using that method, the 10600M strike is believed to be one of the longest tank-to-tank targets carried out by Ukrainian forces during this conflict. State-of-the-art supplies from the West have allowed Ukraine to attack Russian outposts and vehicles from long range, leveling the playing field with Russia.
Stand by! Fire!
Meanwhile, United Nations inspectors arrived at the southern Ukrainian city of Zaporizhia on Wednesday on a mission to prevent an accident at a nearby Russian-occupied nuclear power plant and to try to stabilize the situation after weeks of shelling in the vicinity. Russian-installed officials in the area near the power station suggested the visit might last only one day, while IAEA and Ukrainian officials suggested it would last longer. The mission will take a few days. If we are able to establish a permanent presence, or a continued presence, then it's going to be prolonged. But this first segment is going to take a few days, IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi told reporters at a hotel in Zaporizhia. We have a very important task there to perform to assess the real situation there, to help stabilize the situation as much as we can, he said, adding the IAEA team had guarantees from both Russia and Ukraine enabling it to enter the war zone.
Hey, little Rubens, stand by!
Right! What's that, my command?
One ready, Chief, one ready!
Fire!
Let's go, next round!
Fighting was reported both near the power station and further afield, with Kiev and Moscow both claiming battlefield successes as Ukraine mounted a counteroffensive to recapture territory in the south. Away from Ukraine, Russia halted gas supplies via Europe's key supply route on Wednesday, intensifying an economic battle between Moscow and Brussels that could lead to recession and energy rationing in some of the region's richest countries. European Union foreign ministers decided on Wednesday to make it more expensive and lengthier for Russians to obtain visas to visit the bloc, but stopped short of agreeing an EU-wide visa ban that some member states had wanted. Russia has taken heavier than expected losses during the invasion, which began just over 2 weeks ago. Ukraine has sought to make a public relations play of Ukrainian successes, releasing film of destroyed Russian tanks or enemy armor being towed by tractors. So far, 164 Russian tanks have been destroyed, damaged, or captured, according to the specialist monitor Oryx, which is tracking losses using photo or video evidence. Oryx says for Russian armored fighting vehicles, the number is 102. Ukraine has lost 47 tanks and 39 fighting vehicles from its smaller force. An assessment by the U.S. earlier this week suggested 5,000 to 6,000 Russian troops had been killed and 2,000 to 4,000 Ukrainian troops, plus many more civilians. Another U.S. assessment estimated that both sides had lost 8% to 10% of the military assets that they had committed to the fighting.
Check around to make sure that there's no obstructions of the LM as it comes up and rotates, like a tree or a bush. Out.